Hey, y'all. Today we're going to look at the sixth virtue in the fruit of the Spirit, and that is goodness. As we look at what the Bible says about goodness, we see that Jesus, that God, is the source of our goodness. In fact, the Bible says that we don't have any goodness in us, that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. But if we have anything good in us, it comes from Him. That Jesus is the source of goodness in our lives. When the rich young ruler came and he began to talk to Jesus, he said, "Good master," or "good teacher." And Jesus said, "Why do you call me good? There's only one good, that's my Father who is in heaven." Now, Jesus wasn't denying his own virtue. Jesus was confronting this young man who thought that he was good enough in his own strength and in his own ability and in his own life. And so Jesus was trying to help him to understand that goodness comes from God. That what Jesus does is he brings justification into our lives. And justification is more than just removing our sin. Justification is God replacing our sin with his righteousness. He takes our sin away and he replaces it with his goodness. And so when we look into our lives and we see goodness there, we're able to understand that God is the source of that. That's why the fruit of the Spirit is signified by goodness. When we think about goodness, we understand that God and only God can provide that for us. When we talked about kindness last week, we understood that kindness was more of a passive thing, but goodness is an active thing. Goodness is shown in the way that we treat people. Goodness is shown in the words that we say. Goodness is shown through our relationships and the love that we have for one another. Goodness is an active love that turns the other cheek, that goes the extra mile. Goodness is not normal to our lives because we're all about ourselves. We're all about taking care of and getting ahead ourselves. But goodness is about service. It's about putting ourselves down so that others can be lifted up. It's about lifting up God and serving others. And so as we look at the fruit of the Spirit, we see that oftentimes we determine our goodness based upon how other people treat us or what our situation is. But God's goodness doesn't depend upon the situation. God's goodness doesn't depend upon other people. In fact, when things get difficult, God's goodness shows itself greater. When people are the worst to us, God's goodness shines through us. When we look at the life of Jesus, we see that as he was headed toward the cross, God's goodness, the goodness of Jesus, shone through him, not in anger or judgment, but in love, sacrificial love that led him to the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus' brother said that every good gift and every perfect gift comes from above. As we think about that, understand that if there's anything good in your life, it came from God. Allow that goodness to shine forth in your life, in what you do, in how you live, in what you say. and how you treat people. May the goodness of God direct your life, and may the goodness of God show itself in your life today. God bless you.